Thinking about time a lot recently, how short it feels looking back on it, but how long it can take in the moment. Been thinking a lot recently about how I can make things that could hopefully stand the test of time, like this barn here. I did not build it, but it's probably been here for at least 5 decades, I would think, longer than I have been. And even though the foundations were built on random stones and chunks of wood, it's still standing strong somehow. I don't really trust it that much, if I'm going to be honest, being in here, but it's starting to rain now, so I'm just going to kind of hang out in here, and hopefully the storm will pass enough so that I don't have to sprint back to the car and put a trash bag over my stuff. All this thought about time recently has been making me think about how I use my time more often, and I don't know, I think a lot of it's come from judgment from people around me, but also just kind of internal thoughts where I feel like I'm wasting away my time, even though I've still been trying to use my time to the best of my ability to develop skills that'll help me in the future and really kind of grow something for myself with this channel as well. I have no idea if it'll end up somewhere in the future, but that's kind of the goal. Life has been quite different, I quit my job and decided to take that trip to go see more of the country, and since high school I've been working at the same job, trimming houses, which, we did quite a bit of variety, so it's like I did get to learn a lot, and the position I was put in at the time, I learned a lot more from it because of how much responsibility I had to take on. I don't regret it, and I'm very thankful for my time and for what I learned there, and what I've learned of taking this different direction, even though it's scary and surprisingly there's been a lot of rough days. But I think that's why I've become such a creator in so many different fields. I don't know, I've kind of got this constant struggle with fight, or kind of got this constant fight with time where I feel like I've got to make things to be able to kind of slow time in a sense, be able to have something that I can actually grasp onto in the past, and it kind of brings me back in a sense where I'm especially if it's something that I've built that's in my own home where I can go and visit it, or something I've built for somebody else that I can go and see. It kind of brings me back to a time, and the memories will come flooding in, and it just allows me to connect with an older version of myself, or I guess a younger version of myself in that case. I started out making this piece, I had no intentions of it turning out these different shades of purple and having video game and cartoon characters plastered all over it, but here we are now. And honestly, I'm really glad with how it came out. There were definitely some rough parts, and especially like messing around with these acrylic paint markers for the first time. It was definitely a bit of a learning curve. I could have just used something that I traditionally would have used, such as like linseed oil or any other kind of normal stain. That would have been far easier to apply and definitely would not have had as much like finish work when it came to like drawing all these people on top, because I probably just wouldn't have. But why do anything that's just like everybody else? So this piece has kind of been, I guess, like a memento in a sense, just kind of like a younger version of me, and just kind of as a way to hopefully help keep my childhood curiosity alive. So this video, all in all, a lot of it is about time and how I use my time. And I don't want it to seem depressing, like I've wasted my life away, or I feel like I have, because I'm still young, and barring no major instances that could potentially end my life, I probably will have a long and fruitful life ahead of me, hopefully. I'm currently in kind of a rough patch, but I've definitely been in these before, and I don't know if I'd say worse before. I guess it's all kind of subjective to the moment. Kind of feel like I'm on the right path, but who knows? I don't know if I'll still be happy doing YouTube in a year from now, or 10, but that's part of life, and who knows? Maybe this will end up being what I do for the rest of my life, or maybe it's just another stepping stone on the way to a final destination, which I don't know that there ever really will be one, at least not until I'm resting in my grave. I'll say, as hard as like the early parts of learning a new skill or starting to build something new can be, it's definitely worth it in the long run, in my opinion. And I think it's different for each person, but I think as long as you're able to put in more time and effort, and you can truly dedicate your attention towards something, you can progress in it far more effectively than most people would have you believe, or most people themselves would. It's not easy, and it's a skill that you have to practice so that you can get better and you can actually sustain your attention towards the things that really matter in your life. And hopefully, as a result, you become far greater in these things that bring you joy, and hopefully you can find solace in those. But I'll say, this video isn't meant to be a depression one. All in all, this is a video about hope. Hope for the future, hope for my time here on this earth, and hope for everybody else's. Because we are living in confusing times for a lot of people, and times are changing, technology's changing. It's just part of life, part of this experience. Not only is this a video about hope, but this is a video about embracing the uncertainty of life. Doing stuff that pushes your limits, and not just taking what you think to be set in stone as set in stone, and embracing the uncertainty that life has to offer. I think it opens our eyes to the possibilities just a little bit more.